so she has competed at a very high level, and she's mixing it up here this weekend. And she is not the only one. There are a bunch of juniors.
So we got Florence the Machine jamming for the MTL.
And Stacks On back on track for the Smackademics. And Stacks On is just trying to find a way through the hypotenuse of hope there, but getting nowhere. Stacks On has found a way through there, and once more, as that star finds the way back onto the helmet, the jam has been called off.
So the Valkyries are on 45 at the moment, and Smackademics are a golden egg.
They are indeed. The Valkyries are eyeing off a clean sheet now with 13 minutes left in this first half. But that is easier said than done. It is Simon Love who has put the star on the helmet and advancing to the jam line just in time.
Simon Chambers?
Listed on the list as Simon Love.
Oh, no.
I think they both changed their name.
Okay. So Simon Love is jamming.
Still got the old name on the shirt there. It's just to confuse all the Simon Chambers fans out there. He's skating, I believe, under the name Simon Love, but has failed to update his wardrobe. So, I mean, spend a little extra cash and get an appropriate shirt, Simon. You're confusing the fans.
I think he has also done, there's been a Star Pass.
So he's really indulging in all sorts of wardrobe hijinkery at this stage. And we do have a Valkyrie in the penalty box. But they have worked hard to once again keep the Smackademics to 0. And I take that back. The Smackademics have got 4 on the board. The clean sheet is no more.
They've now got points on Let's Party.
It's a points party over here. And we're celebrating almost as hard as the Smackademics. Sometimes just getting those 4 points just frees the soul. And we do have a power start for the Smackademics. That is Joe Dirt trying to find a way through there as the Valkyrie wall breaks up, and Joe Dirt makes short work. As the wall becomes more of a stretched out barbed wire fence, it becomes easy to circumnavigate. Nice little pirouette move on the inside. Star in hand as number 82.
And she's called off that jam very quickly.
And we've got a team timeout. Smackademics, after 2 successful scoring jams, just want to take a little breather. They've got almost too much momentum, they've decided. Better slow things down. Do you not want to?
Look, we've got stock here of water. Awesome.
When you're a commentator here at URDP, they will keep you hydrated. It's the #1 priority they place on commentator health. They've supplied endless water for us to sup upon, and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, all I'm doing this weekend is talking, so...
Talking and hydrating.
Well, I'm opt for mystery rollers this weekend, so a lot of talking's involved there.
That was one of the more aggressive whistle blows you'll hear this weekend. Artfully done. Really hitting that decibel level that we crave from a whistle blow.
Let's give a shout out to all our NSOs quickly and our refs, who some of them are both playing and doing their job this weekend. So they're going to be dead on their feet by Monday.
It's the weekend. It's a big weekend, we'll say. It's a big weekend for a lot of these officials and skaters and both. And we have Pulp Friction trying to expose some holes in this wall with a lot of frenetic movement. Very energetic jamming from Pulp Friction, but it does look like Irish Upon a Star has also engaged in high-level jamming activities and has stretched that Valkyrie wall out to breaking point. One more obstacle in the way. And with a bit more of a nudge and a push, this bridge has been stretched a little too far. And you would think Irish Upon a Star is but moments away from clear track. But Just Incredible makes me eat my words with some fantastic... But the ref says, you know what? You've done enough. You've done enough. You've got lead jammer. Go score. And it is Just Incredible who's been sent to the seat of solitude.
The sin bin.
Pulp Friction sent all the way back on that long road to redemption with an energetic juke that gets minimum success. Spending a lot of time pushed to the inside and the outside and having to start all over again. Pulp Friction now just looking around, wondering why they got involved in Derby in the first place.
Contemplating life choices.
Some of my life choices have led me to this position where I am unable to get through this wall. She's starting to feel a little bit like someone trying to get on the number 19 tram in peak hour.
I don't know what that's like. I'm from country Victoria, mate.
You can imagine. It looks a lot like that jammer trying to get through a pack.
That's why we live in the country, people, not in the city. And Ida B. Holder is being a strong brace against the varsity jamber. And she is rocking an awesome bum pad with the leg straps.
And Sin for the Valkyries is trying to get through, but this triangle is holding firm. But he has found a way through with some spin moves. They try to reform around him, but it is Stacks On who is your lead jammer and skating with elegance around the track. Sin has been forced to remove that star air briefly. And as is so often the case, as the star has been replaced, so too is the jam called to an end.
We're just going to have to share.
That's all right.
Will this be...
Looks like we've got Just Incredible lining up for the Valkyries.
And Justin...
Taking on Sheriff.
Oh, I'm getting confused.
Just Incredible has found a little hole on the inside and exploited it as Honey Collider does her best to hold up Sheriff, but it does not last long as these two jammers have found their way back to the pack, and this jam has been called off with an almost panicked tap of the hips by Just Incredible, not wanting to leak any points, not on his watch.
No, sirree.
As we have Simon Love, Nay Chambers lined up at the jam line, taking on Joe Dirt. Looked like Simon Love didn't really need to wait for a whistle there, but paid no penalty for it, which is an interesting take on the Derby rules, I would imagine, but maybe I missed something. I figured it out now. He was not the jammer. It all makes sense.
Yeah, he's the pivot.
Yeah, it all makes sense. It takes me a while sometimes to catch up to some of the subtleties of Derby, but if you pay attention to the details, it all makes sense. So save your angry emails. I figured it out eventually.
If you complain about someone doing a voluntary job, I think you're not a good person anyway.
But your actual jammer, Pulp Friction, is doing a fabulous job as your lead jammer. Skating around, scoring points, doing everything that a jammer is meant to do, and just throws in what could only be described as a almost unnecessary spin, but we appreciated its elegance.
Exactly.
The magnificence of motion is always appreciated here in Keysborough.
With our proud sponsors, Springer's Leisure Centre.
The Springer's Leisure Centre, always happy to house a Derby event.
And it's also home to our host, Kingston City Rollers.
And this jam has come to an end with the Valkyries slamming on some points to extend their lead. And looking up at the scoreboard, looks like they have 59 points on the board to the Smackademics on 15. I'm going to pay much more attention to who's wearing what on their helmet, and I can see now. I shan't be fooled.
Shan't.
I shan't.
Irish Upon a Star is jamming for varsity.
Taking on Lulu. And these two jammers are just exploring the walls, if you will. And then it is Lulu has found a little gap through there and is your lead jammer as Irish Upon a Star struggles to get momentum through that pack.
Lulu is making it look easy.
It is just a saunter around the track for Lulu, really. A Saturday saunter on the skates with a little gap opening up on the inside, which Lulu is all too happy to go right on through. And I think he's downgraded that saunter to a mosey. Just feeling that there might be a bunch of laps on offer, some points to score, wants to conserve that energy to get through those walls and score as many points as possible. That's the Lulu way. But looks like the Smackademic wall has something to say about this, just holding Lulu up for longer than he was hoping for. But that dream is over now as Lulu skates free and scores some more points for the Valkyries. Irish Upon a Star now trying some fancy derby moves, a little extravagant juke, which does nothing but expend some energy as this wall is wise to her shenanigans. Lulu just gets through that wall with barely a touch and then chops the hips to say, jam is over.
Geez, this half's gone very quickly.
That's what happens when you get little tiny 20-minute halves. Just as you're settling into the derby groove, the intermission comes along. We've got 1 minute 36 left on the clock as Simon Love, Nay Chambers, is definitely a jammer this time. He's gotten into aggressive jammer pose. Taking on Stacks on. And
So
Simon Love pirouettes on the outside.
So if Stacks on falls falls down, do we all run over and stack on top of him?
I think it is mandatory that any time Stacks On hits the deck, everyone in stackable area must jump on top. Stacks On trying to cause a stack of his own, but they are up nice and quick as this triangle is causing maximum pain. As Simon Love just elegantly promenades around the track, just showcasing the elegance of motion for all to see. And then calls that jam off with a simple pat of the hips, not wanting to cause any hip bruising. As the Valkyries extend their lead, put another 6 points on the board. They have 85 as the Smackademics have toiled away to 15. As Just Incredible lines up against Sheriff. And Sheriff bursts through the wall, only Honey providing some one-on-one resistance. Cops a little chin music on the way through, and Sheriff says, I don't mind if I'm your lead jammer. Happy to be so. And Sheriff gets to tap the hips and call the jam off. Picks up a few little cheeky points, and Just Incredible is left to wonder what might have been as this first half of Derby comes to an end.
Halftime end, awesome.
These two teams are battling away. The walls are providing a lot of resistance for these jammers, but the Valkyries have been slightly more successful in getting through those walls so far in the first half.
With the current score being 85-19.
The Valkyries have a nice little scoreboard buffer. And there's probably a list somewhere of things we need to spruik when we get a chance. We do have some food vans, might be a little early in the day, but do start thinking about your food options as lunchtime will be approaching before you know it.
We've, of course, got the cafeteria out the front.
Everyone loves a sausage roll.
We've got the chili dumplings out the back. If you head towards the end of the hallway, towards the side of the building, you see 2 or 3.
It's kind of a mystery. You've got to, you really got to want the food vans to find the food vans. Do your best.
Just follow your nose is my suggestion.
We've left a series of devious clues scattered around the venue, which will lead you to the location of the food vans.
Which are chili dumplings, bladders, and Hungry Panda.
Hungry Panda. Get on board.
And then we've also got some stalls with us today. So we've got Between the Lines Clothing, Superstar Inc., Divine Sense Creations.
I think that's Bikini Activewear.
Grasshopper Tribe, Proud
Minority.
Skate Project, Spank and Spank Alley.
And also down there on the bottom, Little Bayside Blades.
I think
who have failed to turn up today. But, they're here in spirit. Bayside Blades, they would have provided a lot of the equipment that some of these Victorian skaters are wearing.
Bayside Blades means the killing out of me. We might sign off for a few minutes.
We'll have a little intermission ourselves. Stay hydrated and relax. So enjoy your intermission, and we'll be back in 7 minutes and 34. 3, 2, 1.
even on. 30 seconds or 14 seconds left until we start again.
That escalated quickly.
That did escalate quickly. We spent a good 10 minutes sorting things out.
And we have Pulp Friction lined up at the jam line for the Valkyries, taking on Sheriff. A lot of motion there in the pack, but Sheriff has no trouble finding a line on the outside to expose, and Pulp Friction is set all the way back and wants no more of that business. Sheriff toils away against this wall with a little bit of help from their pivot. Once more burst through for some clear track skating. And just a little sidestep on the outside before heading back for the inside. And then right up the guts.
I think the break has agreed with Varsity.
I think Sheriff definitely used that time to study some jamming strategies. And they are using them masterfully right now.
And reassess life.
Yep, they've got 7 points up on the board. Starting strong in this second half of this reduced time derby. So only 18 minutes, 50 seconds left to bridge the gap that opened up in the first half. But started well, Smackademics. And this is a wonderful tableau for this power start for Joe Dirt, as Pulp Friction is in the box. Joe Dirt has sprung free of the wall and is your lead jammer. Pulp Friction continuing to struggle.
And make their way through the pack.
04 Thuggernaut was proving a handful for Pulp Friction, but infringed threw the rules of Derby out the window and will have to sit down on the stools of sin.
Yeah, with 2 pivots in the bin, that's fun.
Pulp Friction dancing around the defense, but runs into an immovable object there. As James Blonde says, no you don't. But now it is Pulp Friction re-wardrobing to great effect. But
And
as
jam
is
cold.
so often the case, just as the star gets back on the helmet, the jam has been called off. And we got Just Incredible wearing his mostly credible top. These Valkyries doing their best to confuse all and sundry. If you haven't got the wrong name on your top, are you really a derby player? That's what the Valkyries think.
Well, even the refs are going along with it. Cheeky's wearing Simon Chambers' ref top.
It's madness here in Keysborough. Here at the Coliseum of Crunch, all rules are out the window as Just Incredible daintily dances around the inside and is your lead jammer.
Rocking the soccer shins as well, he is.
Got to protect those shins. Shin integrity is paramount to Just Incredible's game plan. Irish upon a star, continuing to get nowhere. As this triangle holds up with a bit of hashtag Pythag life. Oh, Just Incredible just showing the defense the floor. Says, why don't you sit down for a while and I'm going to dance on through, score more points. He also checks that he's got his admission band still on his wrist. He does not want to be ejected for not having paid his entry fee. Oh, and the inside opens up for Just Incredible there. Almost as if he willed a hole for him to skate on through. As these walls are trying to hold firm, but both of them have been breached simultaneously. These jammers just eyeball each other around the track before Just Incredible says, I better get a move on, score a few points, and then maybe call this whole thing off. But the pack says, why don't we just speed on up? Catch us if you can. And then Justin slaps their hips.
And everyone can take a breath.
That was a points-heavy jam as the Valkyries put on 20 and the Smackademics snuck through for 1. I stand corrected, the Valkyries scored 23 and the Smackademics snuck through for 1. 1 for fun. But it looks like right at the end of that jam, Just Incredible might have done a wrong, and he will be sitting down for a power start for the Smackademics.
Besides Kingston, I think the Smackademics are one of the only leagues that have played every year since this tournament started.
We're going to call them URDP stalwarts. And Honey tries to close off the inside line for Stacks On, but Stacks On was too nimble and has exposed that gap. Stacks On making sure everyone can feel his presence. Just Incredible gets back on track just in time for the jam to be called off. It looks like it might be injury concerns, as there were some hard hits there. So we're just going to take a moment to assess that everyone is A-OK. Skater safety is always a premium here in the Coliseum of Crunch. The commentator box has been beset by the need to mirror the hand signals of the officials. I feel like you might be doing some officiating this tournament.
Luckily, I'm not. I was meant to be, but they were in desperate need for me to commentate here instead.
But you're no stranger to the whistle. That's what I'm imagining. And you, when there's shoulder tapping to be done, you will tap them shoulders.
Well, in my defense, Pee-wee was looking straight at me and going, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm going to do this too. Oh, hang on a second, that's not what I'm doing, I'm commentating.
So after a strong start to this half, the Smackademics have stalled a little bit as the Valkyries have extended their lead. They are now 108 to 33. They have broken the hunch as they raise their bat. Century well scored by the Valkyries.
And over the other side, I can see Diamond Growlers and the Prospectors. I think that's what Ballarat's going under.
That is correct. A lot of warming up going on here in the cold Keysborough Derby Dome.
The frozen dome. I think Elsa was meant to visit last night.
We'll take this moment to shout out our sponsors. Aussie Broadband. It's our premium sponsor today for URDP. For all your internet solutions, make sure you check out this brilliant Australian company. Oh, do you like the internet? I bet you do. Aussie Broadband is the one for you. That could be their jingle. Just set it to music and just start singing.
I think there's not one person in this room that doesn't use the internet daily.
How good's the internet? We'd also like to thank the ever-popular Victorian government. What? For all their support in URDP 2019. Without you, we can't hold events like this. You are responsible for many of the forms that get filled out to make this an official, actual thing. Victorian government, you are the wind beneath our wings, helping us soar ever higher. We'd also like to give a big thanks to Life Care Cairo, based here in the southeast, for the trophies this weekend. Lifecare Chiro have provided the trophies, and they will also provide you with all the chiropractic needs that you might accrue over this brutal weekend of derby destruction.
And a big shout out to our head refs and head NSOs.
Blow them whistles with care, but with certainty. And finally, a huge shout out to the Springers Leisure Centre that I have redubbed the Keysborough Derby Dome for the weekend, much to their chagrin. They have said repeatedly, don't call us that. And I have said, you're not the boss of me, Springers Leisure Centre. And now we have a lifelong grudge that may never be fixed. But I've got no regrets. The Keysborough Derby Dome is the home of Derby here this weekend. Suck on that, Springers. But it looks like skater safety has been taken care of. All the boxes have been ticked, and we are ready to derb once more as the skaters hit the track, forming packs and establishing jamming positions. We got Pulp Fiction playing a little peekaboo behind Sheriff. And these packs just maintain their integrity and halt the progress. But Sheriff is full of vim and vigor, but has been sat right down on the butt, forced to start all over again. But Pulp Friction continues in the penalty-heavy way and will have to spend some time in the meditation station.
Get their thoughts together.
And Sheriff is getting nowhere. This wall seems impenetrable, but with a bit of help from his own pack.
Whoop, whoop.
Sheriff has gotten through, just checks the wheels, makes sure he's still got 8, and is happy to keep on skating. Pulp Friction with an energetic pass on the outside. No one had quite realised what was going on, and Pulp Friction has exposed their lack of awareness.
And the scoreboard's down.
We are flying blind here now as technical difficulties continue to beset the scoreboard.
We're back up again.
It was a brief outage. I think it might have been the Springers Leisure Centre just saying, stop changing our name or we will pull the plug.
Too bad we don't have music to get us through the breaks.
Music's a gilt-edged sword when you're live streaming. Well, as soon as the music makes it on the live stream, the powers that be shut the whole thing down.
Fair enough. Sorry about that. I was asking questions about my job.
And we have Pulp Friction lined up at the jam line taking on, I'm going to say, Irish Upon a Star. Irish Upon a Star. Pulp Friction with a neat move on the inside finds clear track and is your lead jammer. Irish Upon a Star is having to high step it back on track, but once more comes up against the triangle of tribulation and gets nowhere. Another nice move on the inside. Gets some sweet, sweet points for Pulp Friction. Pulp Friction
Got a penalty. Did a naughty and is now in the sin bin.
has to spend some time in the behavioural box.
think about what they've done.
Have a good long look in the Hall of Mirrors, Pulp Friction. We've had some shenanigans on track. So these skaters just mixing it up. And it looks like you got skater 173, Copter.
Who's now Jammer.
Burst on free, whacks the star on the helmet. And lives that rare pivot life of actually hitting the pack with the star on the helmet. Dancing in and out of the track, maintaining position and stretching this wall out as best as they can. Simon Loveney Chambers rejoins to form that triangle of terror. And Copter just eyeballs the ref and says, I am not infringing. I dare you to call me for an infringement. Pulp Friction nudged to the outside and will have to start all over again.
Someone's lost something on the track.
Bit of jammer on jammer action, but a sweet little pirouette just establishes Copter's nimble abilities as a pivot come jammer.
Someone on track has lost an earplug, so it's now on the commentator's box.
If you are missing an earplug,
it's
black and plug-like.
It's a spacer. Who?
We have verbal.
Hells yeah, can you please come here and take this?
We've got your spacer, Hells yeah. And for a small fee, you can have it back. As we have an official shoulder tapping timeout that has caused the pack to boogie. We have Sheriff back on the jam line taking on Just Incredible once this timeout has come to its conclusion, which it sounds like it just has.
Woohoo!
Nice bit of space between the jammers and the pack. Will it last? Oh, the jammers mix it up straight away, but only briefly. As the Smackademics have significant pack advantage and Sheriff is able to exploit the numbers and dance on through. Just has a little dawdle around the track, Just Incredible. Looking to bridge the distance and minimize the points damage. And that jam has delicately been called to an end with just a finger tap to the hip. As Sheriff adds some points to the board for the Smackademics.
Is someone missing a spacer that's now on the track?
We will not rest until this spacer has been reunited with its rightful owner. It was someone who skated last night, so it could be quite the long endeavour for us to reunite this skater with their spacer.
We need to find another high.
Ooh, Pulp Friction has been racking up some jam time. And Joe Dirt coming around. It is Simon Loveney Chambers doing the recycling. And then Simon Love comes through for some aggressive O, trying to spring Pulp Friction. Bard with a bit of cheeky star maneuvering and some re-wardrobing. The complexity of the game has changed and this jam has been called off as Joe Dirt says, I see what you're doing and I'm not having it.
Hey Struck, can you do a little dance for us?
We've got Lulu taking on Irish Upon a Star, and Lulu wastes no time establishing lead jammer status. And Irish Upon a Star continues to toil away against this wall, finding no holes to exploit. Lulu with a little shoulder drop confuses the wall to the point of breaking and is free once more. Nice bit of re-wardrobing there.
The 007 on, so James Blonde.
James Blonde suffers the fate of many a re-wardrober. Just gets the star on as the jam is called to an end. The Valkyries have extended their buffer. They are now 124 points to 49 here in the Keysborough Derby Dome.
AKA the Springers Leisure Centre.
How dare you?
How dare I
Not
what?
on my watch.
Not on your watch?
Sheriff, a lone figure, meters behind the jam line, wondering how best to play this, and is now being joined by stalwart of the jam line, Pulp Friction. Nary a jam goes by without Pulp Friction sticking the hand up and saying, "Oh, give it a crack."
And Band Right? How do you pronounce
The Valkyries?
Thank you. Sorry, I've got a little bit of dyslexia, so I'm having trouble saying things.
It is a Saturday morning, and we're only at minimum hydration levels at this stage.
No beer tonight for you then.
Always be sensible, kids. As both packs just form a little huddle and discuss what food van they might be using at lunchtime. High-level discussions. Some of them are rooting for Hungry Panda. Others are staunchly in favour of Splatter. But they all know in the end they'll end up getting chili. Because who can resist?
I can't eat chili, it's too hot for me.
I stand corrected.
And
Yet
that's the
another-
end of the break.
And a wonderfully aggressive whistle blow once more, just showcasing what whistles are capable of here.
Oh, we've had a change in jammer.
That's right, Pulp Friction has been forcibly removed. They've said, you know what? I know you volunteer each and every jam, but every now and then, Just Incredible likes to wear the star. And rightly so, because that took very little time for Just Incredible to dance on the outside and become your lead jammer. And Sheriff has bullied their way through that wall with much effort. And so Justin adds just as much effort to slapping the hips and calling off that jam in what was the biggest ham flap we've seen to call off a jam this bout.
They're all so tiny now.
That one was a large waft of the hand, just to let everyone know. I'm calling it off. Don't think I'm not, because I am. And Pulp Friction, having sat out a jam, says, well, I'm definitely back on for this one. One jam off is enough for me. Joe Dirt battling away, coming face to face with Honey Collider, who allows the rest of her three-wall to join her in providing an immovable object for Joe Dirt to battle against. And in the meantime, Pulp Friction has found some clear track and is your lead jammer. Joe Dirt has re-wardrobed. And may have snuck through. We will let them decide
Yeah,
who
they
gets
got
points.
3 points.
Indeed, points for all. Just a 3-3 draw in that jam. everyone's a winner, and yet nothing has changed. Simon Love lines up with a star on a helmet, taking on Irish Upon a Star. We've got an empty penalty box, full complement of skaters on the track. And Simon Love says the inside is my best friend right now. I'm going to get on through, and then I'm going to just slow the other jammer up, because I can do it all. I'm a jammer, I'm a blocker.
I'm a
jocker.
No, we're calling them blammers.
Blammers.
They're called blammers if you do both really, really well.
Simon Love just showcasing his blamming techniques, letting everyone know there's not a thing I can't do on this track. I've got all the skills. And then continues, leaves the blamming behind and just becomes a regular jammer. Lets the pack come all the way to him and then dances on the inside before getting a big hit. But as they both hit the deck, Simon Love knows, I'm just going to keep on going, no pass, no penalty. What you going to do about it?
It's amazing to see how well these guys work together.
They are an effective synergistic unit out there on the track. And a nice little dance on the inside as Simon Love is sucking in the big breaths now, not used to racking up the lack. I think all that blamming took it out of him. Sometimes being a blammer wastes a lot of precious jamming energy.
Just a little bit.
But the outside opens up like a gaping hole for Simon Love to dawdle through. An elegant jam by all involved. As the Valkyries slam on some more points and extend their lead. Hugs on the jam line.
With Lulu giving a hug to...
I think that's Sheriff up there.
To Sheriff. Oh, it's an official timeout. We're doing some track maintenance.
Bit of shoulder tapping and track taping. No, it's the paper towel has come out. I'm going to imagine we've got blood on the track, even if it's just sweat. I like to imagine it's blood because it creates a much more Colosseum-like atmosphere here in Keysborough. Lulu and Sheriff have done hugging, and now they will toil away, trying to get through these very skillful walls. And it is Sheriff who has found a hole and is your lead jammer.
He made that look easy.
The simplicity of Derby can be showcased from time to time, but when you're up against the sad place as a jammer, you can barely imagine what it's like to skate on through. And many whistles being blown as that has been judged a 0-all draw. Sheriff says, I'm pretty sure I scored some points, Shrek. And Shrek says, I'll be the judge of that. It's my job. And I say, nah, brah.
This will probably be the last jam of the game.
The clock is counting down. Pulp Friction is back on track, as is only fitting. Done a large amount of jamming this bout. These packs have broken up, most unusually, and Pulp Friction has found some space to skate through, and is your lead jammer. And Joe Dirt has been sent to the reflection section.
Otherwise known as the penalty box.
Nice move on the outside, but is tripped up illegally. But that does allow another blocker to come through and provide some one-on-one resistance briefly. And then we slap those hips and end this bout because the Valkyries have dominated from go to woe, with the unofficial score of 142-52.
And we've been called full reasonable time.
That was quick and efficient. So your score here for this Div 1 match on Saturday morning is your Valkyries, your VMRD Valkyries are 146 points, and the Smackademics Varsity Roller League Varsity Derby League Smackademics have ended with 52 well-earned points here.
Congratulations to one and all.
And congratulations to everyone who witnessed it, and especially those who made the trek all the way here to the Keysborough Derby Dome,
Well, it's a
aka
bit-
the Springer Leisure Centre.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a track for some of these teams. I think I might sign off because I've got to go commentate next door.
Do you just?
What's your next commentation?
We should be live. We are live. Look at this. I'm going to turn myself down because I'm way too late. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to URDP action as we get ourselves set for this next game between PMD Perth Men's Derby Mixed Nuts up against the Diamond Growlers. My name's JR, and alongside Griff. Welcome back, mate.
Yes, welcome back. Our second game for the day was game 3 on this track.
This is game
today.
3 on this track. Yep.
And another fantastic looking lineup for both these teams. So
Yeah.
we should be a good hit out between these two sides.
This should be a really good game. Looking forward to this, as was the previous game.
We did have some earlier technical difficulties with the live stream, but
Okay.
I think that's all been sorted out now. There's not much you can do when the router loses
No.
power, unfortunately.
True that, true that. So whilst we've got the briefest amount of time available, let's quickly go through the teams, and I'll hand over to yourself with the Perth Men's Derby.
Yeah, so Perth Mixed Derby Mixed Nuts. Lining up for the Mixed Nuts, we have 010 X-Ray, number 13 Arriba, number 1365 Breaker Leg, number 187 Missy Quinn, number 20 Pit Bull, number 229 Diamond, number 316 Cannon Bill, wearing the captain's flag today, number 447 Fig Jammer, number 5 Chitty, number 52 Block Lobster, number 816 Jackhammer, number 925 Sparkle, and on the bench we have Lollipop. That is your Perth Men's Derby Mixed Nuts.
Awesome. I will get to the Diamond Growlers just as soon as I get a suitable break in this game. But it looks like number 1012, that's Terabyte. He's going to be starting up on the jammer start line for the Diamond Growlers.
And alongside him is number 52 Block Lobster.
Block Lobster. I like it.
For the
I like
Mixed
it a lot.
Nuts. He's even got a theme song ready.
Yeah, I know.
All right, and the crowd here getting into it. Let's
The fans in the stand, I like this. Very loud.
So on-track officials just sorting out a few final bits and pieces with the lineups.
Yeah. A special shout out to all our fans watching at home, wherever you're taking this feed from, be that Facebook or on YouTube. A very warm welcome to you all, and we trust that you are enjoying kind of effectively day 2 action here at URDP for 2019. Of course, we started off last night with 2 games, so it's the first time in URDP history that we've actually had games on the Friday night, so effectively this is kind of day 2 or day 1, I don't know. However which way you want to look at it. We're here and it's exciting.
It's day 1 for us.
It is
so
day
I think
one for
that's
us.
that's what's important.
Yes, this is true.
And we are covering both on-track and live stream with the one
Yes, we
commentary
are.
today. So
Yeah.
we will try as best we can to respond to any comments on the live stream.
Yep.
Feel free to give a shout out. Say hi to your favourite skaters. Tell us what
Exactly.
team you're supporting. Help out with picking up bits that we might miss.
Yeah, and we do miss bits. We're only human after all. We don't always get it right, but we try our absolute level best. So hopefully we're not too far away from a start. We're just trying to get some scoring / technical.
Yeah, sorting out the scoreboard. Still stuck on the
Thingies
30-minute
sorted?
half at the moment. All the pool matches today, this weekend are
Yep.
20-minute halves,
Yes, they are.
not 30-minute halves,
Mhm.
until we get into the finals when we go into full-length
They
games.
go full length.
Worth noting too that with those 20-minute halves, with that reduction in time comes a reduction in penalty count for the skaters as well. So 5 penalties equals a foul out for the skaters.
Yep.
As opposed to the usual 7. So something to bear in mind there for our skaters.
And I haven't seen any, and I believe that there's none in this particular part of the tournament, and it's of course official reviews. I have not seen an official review in any of the games thus far, so that's obviously to keep the game moving along. If it's anything major or consistently not in keeping with the game or in good sportsmanship, then no, I'm assuming that the 2 teams and team captains would have a chat about that at the halftime break. But we're rolling along. We are at Springer's Leisure Centre. How good is this joint? Seriously, like, for the first time, URDP has come here. Obviously, we've been at the showgrounds in previous years, so it's nice to come to a venue like this. It's also Kingston's home deck. That's where we train, so
Yeah, and speaking with a few of the skaters of the various
Yep.
teams, they're absolutely loving the floor here.
Good.
Like the surface is great.
Yeah, good. Excellent.
Yeah, good for all those involved. The blockers are liking it because there's enough slip that they can get a good slide on.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's still enough grip there for those that want to turn on a dime and have that
Yeah.
ankle snapping sort of grip.
Yep, yep. I guess that's what you can sometimes get with polished concrete. It's a bit of an anomaly in that you can get something that's really ultra grippy, or you can go the other way, have it something that's like skating on glass, which is not fun for anybody. So
Yeah, and it can change just with the weather too. You know,
Oh,
we've
yeah.
had or the general conditions. I
Yep.
know I've had
Absolutely, you can.
instances at the velodrome in Sydney.
Yep.
Where if the windows get left open, a bit of dust rocks in, all of a sudden you just
Game
slide in like
changer.
ice.
Yep.
Yeah.
and that would be very, very hard for the skaters to try and make sure that they've got the right wheel combination to accommodate that as well. Some skaters will go a full-on hard wheel, some will go a medium, some will go a soft, some will go kind of half soft, half medium, depending on what their position is on track, whether they're a jammer. So they'll be looking for that balance in their skate as well. So trying to get as much grip. Some like it really grippy, some like it to be able to slide and feel their skate underneath them.
Yes, well,
It's all sorts of courses.
doing blocking and jamming. If
Yep.
I'm jamming, I want grip. If I'm blocking, I want slide.
Slide, exactly. Yep.
All right, we have the rolling whistle signalling the start of this bout against the PMD Mixed Nuts taking on the Diamond Growlers. Players have been waiting in anticipation to get this one underway.
So the whistle blows and gets this one underway. Both jammers then working really hard to try and find something to get through as the pack now comes through turn number 1 into turn number 2.
And it is Block Lobster that grabs lead jammer status for the Mixed Nuts. Both of these blocking packs putting up very solid walls. Block
Yep.
Lobster with a nice little hop, skip and a jump up that inside line on turn 2. A quick 4 points opens the account for the Mixed Nuts.
Picking up 4 points along the way. Yeah, sorry. There we go. Got it all sorted. It's all good.
So our scoreboard operators still just having a few little technical difficulties. They will get to adjusting the time and fixing up the score very shortly. But a 4.0 jam for the Mixed Nuts as we see Arriba taking the line.
And that looks like Knives to meet you there, jamming for the Diamond Growlers. Just been taken to the inside part of turn number 1 and recycled back. Meanwhile, all that's going on behind her. Arriba getting on through and picking up 4 points to add to the Mixed Nuts total.
Yeah, so making that apex, did manage to land that apex jump just. Feet slipped out from her underneath that after that, but managing to stick the landing enough to grab the 4 points. Oh, we have number 816, the big jackhammer lining up for PMD Mixed Nuts. Facing off against number 5-8 by the looks of it, who I don't believe we have on our sheets, unfortunately.
We
Hopefully
do
the
not.
scoreboard. There we go. Betty
Yeah.
Bruiser.
Betty Bruiser and Jack Hammer, 2 jammers out on track. And getting on through, picking up lead jammer, it is Betty Bruiser. Meanwhile, got a skater down on the entry into turn number 1. They're all right.
And it's a power jam for the Diamond Growlers, and Betty Bruiser now with a chance to put some points on the board for the Diamond Growlers.
Yeah, Betty just taken to the outside part of turn number 1, then got recycled back. So got a little bit of work to do to get on through the pack.
And that is a big blocking wall which is coming up against there. We've got Cannon Bill. Looks like Sparkles. So forced to call that jam off. No points. Apologies. 3 points for the Diamond Growlers. So Diamond Growlers opening their scoring account with a 3-point jam there for Betty Bruiser. And also managing to keep Jackhammer in the penalty box for a power jam start for the Diamond Growlers.
Yep. So it is in Terabyte with a power jam start for the Diamond Growlers. Pushing nice and hard through the front of the pack. Nothing on offer there. Gets recycled back to the midpoint of the main straightaway. Meanwhile, Jack Hammer has made their way back on track.
Yeah, some good solid defence from the mix, from the Growlers, holding up Jack Hammer.
Yeah. Both teams, fair to say, don't mind going the defensive way and making life very, very difficult for the Jammers.
Yes, both defensive walls reforming quite nicely and managing to slow up the Jammers. Oh, in this instance, a penalty call has managed to open up the track for Terabyte, and he just soars past that outside line, grabbing the 4 points. Jack Hammer continuing to work away at the front, but some last line defence from 9-9 there forces Jack Hammer to yield all the way back.
Nice bit of defensive work then from Arriba, taking Terabyte all the way back to turn number 4.
Starting to see a few penalties being drawn here.
Yep.
As Diamond Growlers pivot heads to the penalty box. Both Jammers now coming round for scoring passes. Terabyte has completed another 4-point pass. Really starting to rack up the points in this jam.
A little bit slow out of the blocks with the Growlers, with the Mixed Nuts taking the early lead, but this jam has certainly produced some nice points, 16 in fact.
And so, not sure if Jack Hammer realised, but he was lead jammer, so that is a 16-point shanking.
Yep.
To the Growlers.
16-0, shutout, as they would say in ice hockey.
And looks like we have 447 Fig Jammer lining up for PMD.
And that looks like number 10, that's Knives to meet you, Jamie, for the Diamond Growlers.
Fig Jammer making quick work of the start there. Charging up to the defensive pack, grabbing lead jammer status, coming around now for a scoring pass. And Fig Jammer managing to call a cut track penalty on number 5-5 there. Pulls off the jam with, I believe, a couple of points in the bag, 1 point in the bag, so 1-0 there.
It's a nice tight game, that's what we like to see, nice. There's points flowing for both teams, early stages of this.
And you got to say, not looking at the scoreboard, just looking at the play on track.
Yeah.
These is two very equally matched teams.
Yep.
As we have an official timeout,
Yes.
Jammer ref being called over to the scoreboard operators.
And of course, the jam timer, we have Leo Sayer on. So just a few little things to iron out with one of the jammer refs and the scorers here.
While we have a little break in play, we want to give a big shout out to one of our major sponsors, Aussie Broadband.
Yeah.
It's our premium sponsor today for the weekend here at URDP. For all your internet solutions, make sure you check out this brilliant Aussie company.
Oh,
It's Aussie Broadband.
not to mention the food truck. I went outside in between games and I saw the food on offer outside. Happy days. Chili dumplings, splatters, Hungry Panda. They're all out there.
So yes, if you are coming down to the Springer Leisure Centre, make sure you plan your day around picking up some lunch down here. Support our sponsors and food trucks and vendors. It's all here for you. Come on down, check out the Derby, get a good feed.
get some good derby as we get this one underway. As signalled by Leo Slayer, the jam timer, the whistle blows, the hammer gets dropped, and Betty Bruiser and Block Lobster, the two jammers out on track now.
Block Lobster almost away, but was forced to yield, but then has another crack at it and grabs that lead jammer status as Betty Bruiser twinkle toes are up that outside line, but then forced back on the inside and has to yield once again as Block Lobster completes a 4-point pass.
Meanwhile, all that was going on, the cavalry arrived then for the Diamond Growlers being released out of the penalty box. And there's two more skaters entering the penalty box. So a bit of traffic happening there for the penalty box management team over the other side. But oh, look at this.
Oh,
Well,
look at this. Yes, 8-0. Now that brings the scores within 1 point.
like it.
Mixed
Like it
Nuts
a
on
lot.
23, Growlers on 24. This is going to be a cracker of a game.
Yeah. Also, a big shout out, ladies and gentlemen, to the Victorian government for all their support in URDP for 2019. Without the support from the Victorian government, this event probably would not be taking place. So, on your Dan, that's what I say. As we get this one then underway, Arriba jamming for PMD Mixed Nuts.
And it's Terabyte for the Diamond Growlers, and Arriba is able to claim lead jammer status with that little shimmy and a shake and then flying up that inside line. Some serious speed, and she's so small and agile. It's like a squirrel that's had a whole bunch of coffee.
Oh, nice footwork there coming off of turn number 2 for Arriba. And 4 points for her efforts. Nice work.
The penalty box has been cleared. All skaters back on track. And I jinxed them. And one more goes straight back to the penalty box.
You got to stop jinxing people, Griff.
Yes, so I've just sent 2 to the penalty box. Commentator's curse there.
All good.
I'm sure Arriba won't mind. That's 2 Growlers in the penalty box, 2 less skaters that she has to work her way past.
Exactly.
Oh, and a nice little bean dip on the outside line there. Gets a nice 4-point pass for Arriba.
Yep.
As Terabyte now completes his initial pass.
And this is turning into some sort of a jam for Arriba, just coasting around through turn 4. And she's seen enough and called it off.
And I get the feeling this is it's going to be one of these sorts of games where we're going to get a lot of lead changes throughout.
I think so.
Mixed Nuts now taking the lead.
Yep.
35 points to 24 with a beautiful 12-point jam there to Arriba.
Nice. And a big shout out also to, ladies and gentlemen, to all our refs and NSOs giving up their time to make this weekend what it is. And also behind me, members of the St John Ambulance are here to make sure everyone's safe. For without them, well, we can't derby because if someone gets hurt, which we don't want to see. So back to the action on track then. It is Block Lobster taking on, looks like number 10, Knives to Meet You. Knives to Meet You getting on through, picking up lead jammer for the Diamond Growlers.
Oh, and a nice line there for Knives up the outside there. Just waiting to see how many points she did manage to grab. A little quick discussion between the jam refs. Block Lobster able to grab 1 sneaky point, so it was a 1-1 jam. So a good effort there from Block Lobster to keep the pressure on.
Yep.
And keep scores equal during that jam. As we see a jackhammer lining up for PMD, taking on, I believe that's Betty Bruiser.
Yeah, it is Betty Bruiser jamming for Diamond Growlers, but out front picking up lead jammer and wasting no time, jackhammer for PMD.
I can tell you from experience skating against Jackhammer that his name is aptly chosen.
Yes.
He hits like an absolute machine.
He's a fair lump of a lad, is Jackhammer. Big boy. You put some skating skills and speed, you've got yourself a weapon.
And it is a power jam now for the Mixed Nuts. As well as a blocker in the bin for the Growlers.
As we saw in the first game that we commentated here this morning, Griff, both teams more than happy just to slow things down when they need to and just make life really, really hard for jammers. Don't like that. They don't like being held up and worked over. They just want to skate around and
Yeah,
score
we
points.
want space.
They want
We want
space.
gaps.
Exactly.
Speed. So the Mixed Nuts there grabbing 8 points to 1 in that jam, extending their lead out now and managing to ice the jammer
Yep.
for the Growlers. So Ariba starting with a power jam start, which I'm sure she won't have any complaints about. Both packs down to 3 blockers. Oh, and look, easy does it. Some great
That's
offense off the line there
was
from
gonna-
the Mixed Nuts.
I was going to say, that's just nuts. So quick to find a gap on the outside part of the main straightaway. Saw Ariba getting on through, picking up lead jammer. Unfortunately, though, for Ariba, it is a cut track that's going to send her to the penalty box.
And it's going to be a very full
Whee.
penalty box. In fact, that's as many skaters you can jam into one
Yep.
side of the penalty box at once.
Remember that thing I said to you earlier on this morning about Flinders Street Station Monday morning? That's exactly what's going on over in the penalty box. Meanwhile, Betty Bruiser, the Diamond Growlers, 4 points being added to their total.
Jam is going to go the full 2 minutes.
Yeah, it is.
And this is playing nicely into the hands of the Growlers.
And this is backing up what you were saying before. This is going to be one of those games where a team's going to get a little bit of a stretch, the other team's going to come back, and this is what it takes. Just a penalty here, penalty there, power jam here, power jam there, and it can change everything, and quickly.
And the points starting to rack up now. 11 points to 0 for Growlers in this jam, as Ariba has now returned from the penalty box and completed a scoring pass. So she's managed to grab a quick 4 points and cruises around the outside there for another 4 points.
Yep.
You can hear the calls coming from the bench support staff there, just letting their jammers know how much more time they've got.
Yep.
Keep pushing. These 2-minute jams can be absolutely brutal on these jammers.
Exactly.
Betty Bruiser there sucking the big breaths. Ariba hot on the heels.
Ariba looks like she could just do this all day. I'm pretty sure that...
Well, she did get a nice 30-second rest in the middle of this one.
There is that. There is that. Some nice bit of defensive work there on the far side of the track.
Oh, and unfortunate for Ariba there. She thought that it was going to be a no pass, no penalty, but gets the call from Copter, cut track penalty. So,
yeah, but not
another-
before she put 12 points on the board for her Perth Men's Derby Mixed Nuts.
yeah, it was looking like that might have been a bit of a runaway jam for the Growlers there, but Ariba returning from the penalty box and able to wheel it back in, and obviously some good defensive work there by the Mixed Nuts towards the end to start to contain Betty Bruiser at the end of that jam.
So Tara Bite it is with the power jam start. So this is a good opportunity for the Diamond Growlers to close that 19-point gap up. And Tara will be looking to do just that, get as much points on the board before Ariba returns back on track.
Some good work there from the Mixed Nuts, blocking wall. You can see Cannon Bill there just talking to his butts, making sure they're set as Terabyte comes in trying to get this scoring pass done.
That's it. So now the cavalry arrive for the Mixed Nuts. Ariba being released out of the penalty box, also alongside one of her blockers. So you'd have to say that little bit of a win going the way of the Mixed Nuts. They were able to shut down Terabyte whilst Ariba was serving her penalty. So the damage has been minimised a little bit.
So 7.0, and fortunately 2 of the Growlers blockers copping late penalties there. So
Yep.
it'll be a 2-4 pack advantage in favour of the Mixed Nuts. But that lead now back down to just the 12 points.
Yep.
48 points for the Growlers. So as we hear the whistle for another official timeout.
Yep.
Looks like they're just having a bit of a discussion. While we have a bit of time, we'll give a shout out to some of our other vendors here at the Spring and Leisure Centre over the weekend. We have the Skate Project here selling shorts, athletic apparel, Velcro friendly uniforms. So come on down if you need some more short shirts, uniforms, and so on. We also have Between the Lines, leggings, tees on sale. Get get your... I'm not sure if I'm going to say that one, but there's leggings and tees on sale.
How can you say that one? Get your P-power.
Yeah, I think that's...
P-power.
Yeah, there we go. Get your...
Politically correct. What I should do is something I should have done earlier on, and that's announce the Diamond Growlers team that have been skating around for the last, 17 minutes or so. So for the Diamond Growlers, ladies and gentlemen, we have number 5'8", Betty Bruiser, number 9'9", Bambi, number 10'12", Terabyte, number 12, PMS, number 10, Knives to Meet You, number 7'4", Butcher Bird, number 181, Rose Sham Jimbo, number 212, Twinkling Vixen, number 2311, that's Little Susie, number 16, Chaos, number 2627, Hells Yeah, and the captain, number 264, Scoobs, number 5, Painbow, number 55, Snatcher, number 7, Wolf Brother, number 8, Baby Rhino, with Griv Reaper, Penalty Box, and Tame Impaler taking care of business on the penalty bench. So my apologies I didn't get the team read out sooner, but better late than never.
And if you're out there viewing on YouTube or Facebook, be
Yes.
sure to drop some comments in the chat section. It's a bit quiet at the moment on the YouTube
Yeah.
side of things, so drop in and say hi.
Come on, guys.
Send out
We're
your
here.
cheers for your team.
Absolutely. Strange old weekend in Melbourne. We're not used to not having any football on. A little bit weird for all the kids playing along at home.
It's got to be getting close to final season.
It is very much finals kick off next weekend,
Ah,
so
there you go.
my team's not there, but that doesn't matter. Anyway, maybe next year.
All right, who have we got lining up? We've got, it looks like Block Lobster taking on Knives to Meet You.
Yeah.
And Block Lobster grabs lead jammer status. Taking full advantage of the two blockers in the penalty box for the Growlers.
Yep.
And a nice whip off his own player there. Gets Block Lobster a full 4 points. Just the one Growlers blocker now on track as the penalty box.
Yeah, unfortunately, the captain, Hells Yeah, making her way to the penalty box to serve a penalty.
And Knives looking for a sneaky inside line and does find it. And completes her initial pass, but Block Lobster continuing to rack up the points. Bit of a late penalty called there on X-Ray. Another 3 points for Block Lobster.
Yep.
Makes that an 11-point jam, so this lead now starting to extend out for the Mixed Nuts. But plenty of time for the Growlers to peg it back. One good jam, as we say. That's
They got a heap of time.
all right. I can see Fig Jammer lining up there for the Mixed Nuts.
And Terabyte jamming for the Diamond Growlers.
Both blocking packs down by 1, so no real advantage, but a bit
No.
more space on track for the Jammers. So
Yep.
look for a quick break by one of them, and it's
Oh.
Fig Jammer with that quick break. Just busting at the middle.
I was just going to say, just like a hot knife through, but a big jammer getting on through, picking up lead jammer status.
Not to be outdone though, Terabyte has also made his way through the pack on his initial pass.
Yep.
Fig Jammer now grabbing a quick 4 points. But with two of his blockers in the penalty box, he heard the call coming from the bench there, or we did
Yep.
at least, to get them out. So run the jam a bit longer. Oh, what a beautiful
Nice.
apex jump there by Fig Jammer.
Yeah, nice apex jump and landed it with a little bit of a twist and a
Bit of flair.
Bit of flair,
Bit,
that's
bit,
it.
bit of a little.
Hollywood comes to
Give
town
him the
for a
give him
second.
the old razzle dazzle at the end there.
That's it. So we've got Perth Men's Derby Mixed Nuts 79, Diamond Growlers 52, with just on 120 remaining in this game, as we see
First half.
the first half of this game. Exactly.
One or two more jams left to go in this half, as we see Jackhammer lining up against Betty Bruiser.
It is Betty Bruiser, and
Oh.
nicely on the outside line on the main straightaway there. Betty Bruiser getting on through, lead jammer, Diamond Growlers.
Yeah, so the one PMD blocker in the bin, and that created just enough space for Betty Bruiser to
Yep.
scurry away up the outside line, and does so yet again around that outside line there, grabbing the full 4 points. calls it off. So that was a nice quick 45-second odd jam. So we will get one more jam in this half.
We should. Hit it and quit it. I like it. Let's get the 4 points. Keeps them well within touch.
Yep, only 23 points the difference.
Yeah.
And a full half and a jam yet to go. So it's on the Growlers. They've got to do the work to pull it back, but well within reach. As we see Block Lobster facing off against Knives to meet you. All skaters out on track for the start of this jam.
Yep.
Nice clear penalty box on Knives looking for that inside line, but Cannon Bill there to shut it down. Meanwhile, Block Lobster using that chaos and found a way out through the pack to claim lead. Knives once again hammering into Cannon Bill there.
That was a nice move by Block Lobster just at the beginning of the jam there. Everyone was nice and stationary. He just waited and waited and waited until he saw the opportunity. The door was open, bang, off. Off like a rocket.
And
Boy,
so
intermission.
4 points there for Block Lobster. Sees the scores sitting at 83 for the Mixed Nuts. Diamond Growlers 56. And that looks like half time. I haven't heard
It does look like half time.
a rolling whistle just yet, but we
Jammerous.
believe- Yes, our officials are just coming over just to confirm some scores, just double check.
Yep.
But intermission has been signalled, so 10 minutes on the clock.
10. Nice. We're going to take a break. I'm going to take a break.
Yeah, I might go grab another coffee, I think.
Sounds like a plan. We'll see you very shortly.
Alrighty, and here we are, almost
We're
back
back.
underway for the second half of this bout against the PMD Mixed Nuts taking on the Diamond Growlers.
Nice.
So start of this second half, we have the Mixed Nuts sitting on 83 points, Growlers on 56. It's been a tight, close game the whole way along. And it'll be all on the Growlers to try and come out with a good start.
Oh,
Jumping the gun there, Fig Jammer.
Off to the races.
Yes, you know you're a jammer when you hear a whistle and you just go.
That's it.
So there's the whistle that we needed. And both jammers off and racing. Fig Jammer taking on Terabyte. Fig Jammer it is who manages to push away through the front of that pack. Oh, big gap opened up for Terabyte there on the outside, but some good last line defense from the Mixed Nuts. Not quite enough as Terabyte manages to get through on his initial pass.
Yeah, Fig Jammer wasting no time getting on through the pack, just absolutely monstered his way through, and there wasn't a heck of a lot that the Diamond Growlers defence could do about that. Got the 4 points that he wanted, calls it off, adding to the Mixed Nuts total, pushing them out now 87-56.
So 31 points difference in this bout, and I think we need the clock adjusted again, but yes, about 19 minutes left in this half.
About. So what we want to see is a full complement of blockers on track, and that's exactly what we've got. Number 10, Knives to meet you. Jamming then for the Diamond Growlers.
All right, a little bit of debate amongst the refs there on whether or not Knives had a cut track, but head ref Copter pulling
Same.
rank
Yep.
and calling Knives back to track.
Which is kind of cool on one hand, but the Jammer, if they had any sort of momentum before they got that alleged penalty, it just throws all their momentum and everything out the window. So, yes, whilst on one hand it's good that something can be corrected and overturned in some cases, it can also be not a good thing.
Still stints the gameplay, but at least you don't have
Does.
that 30 seconds in the penalty box.
True
so
that.
Jackhammer now coming round for a scoring pass. Manages to call off that jam.
No, not before Knives to meet you picked up 4 points.
A couple of extra points there for Jackhammer, so 6 point to 4 jam there in favour of the Mixed Nuts.
Still 33 points and nothing really in it, not in roller derby. You might be thinking 33 points, my God, that's done and dusted. I've seen 33 points evaporate in one power jam, so
It's one of those things whenever you're speaking to someone not familiar with derby, and you say, look, anything within 50 points is pretty well, you call a close game most of the time.
absolutely.
As we see Block Lobster there, claiming lead jammer for the Mixed Nuts. Betty Bruiser pushing away with just 2 more blockers to beat. But Block Lobster taking full advantage of the split up and reduced blocking pack for the Growlers. Grabbing a quick 4 points. Oh, big hit there from Block Lobster, but looked legal from here.
Yeah, that was all fine.
No calls from the refs, and grabs all 4 points there.
It's a nice little jam there for the Mixed Nuts. That 8 points taking them over the 1 ton mark. There's a 101 playing 60 as we find ourselves again under an official timeout.
And while our officials have a little chat amongst themselves, another shout out to more of our store holders here. On the day we have the Grasshopper Tribe, affordable expert business advice. So
I like it.
Yeah, JR himself is going to go along and see them today.
I have. I briefly went over in between games and introduced myself, so I will be going back there a little later on as a business owner to see what can they do to help me grow my business.
It looks like the officials have sorted themselves out now.
Certainly have.
And we are seeing a bit of action in the live stream commentary, so a couple of PMD supporters giving the shout outs there.
Nice.
Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to JR and myself and taking in all this awesome derby action. Have we got any Growlers fans out there on the live stream? If you're out there listening, give us a shout out in the comments section on YouTube.
Absolutely.
As we see Fig Jammer and Terabyte going head to head. Terabyte with the lead, but it's Fig Jammer who gets through for the first full scoring pass. Followed up quickly by Terabyte. So Terabyte calls that off at a 4-4.
Yep. So the blocker advantage is going to go the way of the Diamond Growlers. Unfortunately, Cannon Bill picking up a forearms in that previous jam, so he will sit for 30 seconds. So an opportunity then for number 1-0 jamming for the Diamond Growlers. That is Knives to meet you with the blocker advantage at her disposal. Hopefully she can get on through the pack and get out lead jammer.
And we've got Sub-Zero Icy Queen in the live chat, tuning in from work. So we've got Derby fans everywhere at the moment watching this live stream.
And a very, very warm welcome to those that are taking this online, this feed online. We welcome you and we trust that you're enjoying this game as much as we are. It's a cracker.
So 4.0 jam there for the Mixed Nuts, extending that lead out. It's really time that the Growlers need to try and make a step up now. That lead is starting to just creep slowly and slowly further away. And for those who may have missed it in earlier games, the ladder rankings will be decided on points differential.
Yes.
So all the points matter in every single game. It's not just, obviously it'll start with who's got the most wins, but it'll come down to points differential to sort out ladder rankings.
Absolutely.
And how the finals and pre-finals play out.
So it is then Betty Bruiser, Fig Jammer, the two jammers out on track and trying to find a way through. Out front, Fig Jammer getting on through and picking up lead jammer for the Mixed Nuts. Meanwhile, Betty Bruiser with it all to do as she's been recycled back to the midpoint of the main straightaway.
Yeah, last little bit of defence there from Alpaca Punch, forcing Betty Bruiser over that inside line and the big yield back. Big shouldering hit there from Alpaca Punch. Sends Betty Bruiser to that inside line again.
Yep.
And look at the size of this blocking wall that Betty Bruiser is having to go up against.
Yeah, it's anything but fun. But that said, Betty Bruiser getting on through.
Equal to the task and found a way through that pack. Fig Jammer, meanwhile, grabs another 4 points. So an 8.0 jam for the Mixed Nuts. And the Growlers starting with 2 blockers in the penalty box at the start of this jam. As we see Chitty taking the star for the Mixed Nuts. I think that's the first jam for Chitty.
I believe it is the first jam for Chitty in this particular game anyway. We get this one underway. Both jammers then made to work real hard, trying to find something to work through in the form of a gap to get out front, and making the best of it is Chitty.
All right, and we have a skater down. We have our medics coming to the attention of a down skater, so we are going to take a little bit of a...
We're going to take a little bit of a
time
break.
out?
I think so, yeah. And we're back after that short little break while we attended to a skater.
Yes, and it was 74 Butcherbird for the Growlers just being taken off to get checked out by the medics. She seemed to be fine getting off the track, so hopefully nothing too serious, but obviously always good to be checked out by the medics in all those scenarios. But back on track now, we have Block Lobster taking on Knives to Meet You. Block Lobster with a quick jump out of the pack to claim lead. Knives to Meet You chasing down quickly at the back of that pack, but I believe the call off there successful.
Tried to get that sneaky point, did Knives, but unfortunately...
No luck, so double donuts there
Double donuts.
for that jam. Now officials have called another timeout to have a chat amongst themselves, which is always a good time to give another shout out to one of our store holders here. We have Divine Sense here on site today, selling Epsom salts, bath bombs, and house diffusers. Nice. So if you need a bit of a relax, come on down.
If you're feeling a little bit stinky, you want to smell nice and yummy and fresh again. Don't know if that's the right way to promote them, but anyway, you know, you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Also, another sponsor that's on board with us this weekend. They've actually sponsored the magnificent trophies that are on the bench on the far side of the track there, just beyond turn number 2. And that's, of course, Life Care Chiropractic, based here in the southeastern suburbs. We thank them very much again for the continued support of URDP.
Our officials have sorted themselves out now. The 5-second call coming from Leo in the middle. As we have Fig Jammer facing off against Betty Bruiser. And with that penalty call coming in, Fig Jammer just able to take advantage of a little bit of confusion from some of the skaters there.
And as he's done so many times in this game already, Fig Jammer wasting no time trying to get through the pack and get that lead jammer status, and he's done that. It's all now about the points scoring for Fig Jammer, 4 more to add to the total. As the pack, the defensive work for Perth men's is making life very, very difficult for Betty Bruiser there on turn number 2.
But once again, Betty Bruiser with persistence and drive, finding a way through that huge defensive wall. And that forces the call off from Fig Jammer. Not before he grabs another 4 points, so 12-0 jam there. All these points very beneficial for the Mixed Nuts at this point. Now out to a 65-point differential in favour of PMD Mixed Nuts, as we have a team timeout called by the Growlers. And if you're out there in Derbyland listening in on the stream and you're thinking about coming down today, make sure to come on down and grab some lunch from the fantastic food trucks that are here today. We've got chili dumpling, splatters, and Hungry Panda all serving up fantastic lunch options down here.
Absolutely. A bit of a shout out there to Leanne Ellis. Go WA. I don't know if Leanne's a WA girl or not, but thanks for joining us, Leanne. We trust that you are enjoying the broadcast as much as we are enjoying it, bringing it to you. Here from Springers Leisure Centre, in beautiful downtown Keysborough in Melbourne. I can say beautiful in Melbourne today because it's actually beautiful and sunny. So for all our northern friends, thanks for bringing the sun down. We really appreciate it. Because other than that, it's been ridiculously, hideously cold and rubbish.
Well, happy to do the swap with the rain up in Brisbane because we need it desperately at the moment. So.
I know. I'm a January baby. I don't deal with this cold all that well. But anyway. So it is then Chitty jamming for PMD.
So the second jam in this half for Chitty.
Yeah.
She had a successful first hit out.
And Terabyte jamming for the Diamond Growlers. Gets on through. Lead jammer.
Oh, but Chitty is hot on the heels of Terabyte. Trying to chase down and limit that scoring for the Growlers. And does so pretty effectively. Looks like 3 points there for Terabyte. Not able to get past that last blocker.
Yeah.
So some good work there by Chitty, being able to shut down that jam nice and quickly. But a 3-0 jam in favour of the Growlers.
Yeah, Chitty tried with a nice little quick little bean dip just right at the death, but it wasn't to be, unfortunately, for her efforts, picking up no points.
So one of the PMD mixed nuts in the bin, so without their pivot. But Block Lobster out there with the star on his helmet.
Yep. Also, Betty Bruiser jamming for the Growlers. And this Perth defence is giving Betty plenty to think about coming into turn number 1. But whilst all that's going on behind her, Block Lobster getting on through. The initial pass is all done and dusted. It's about the point scoring pass now.
And Block Lobster also managing to draw a multiplayer on the Growlers defence there.
And that's Little Sue's heading off to the penalty box.
Oh, Block Lobster off to the penalty box. But it's we're going to have a Jenna swap out.
There is a fair bit of traffic going on down in the penalty box area, let me tell you. Jammers entering, exiting, blockers entering, exiting, and it is all going on. Meanwhile, the pack has kind of found itself slowly making its way down the back straight away.
And Block Lobster returning from that penalty and grabbing a quick 4 points there. Both jammers now back out on track. And so we're going to have a full 2-minute jam here.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, and another penalty for Block Lobster being called for a high block by looks. Or
Yep. So yeah, yet again, another opportunity for Diamond Growlers, power jam. But the way Perth have been playing this game thus far defensively, they're going to ask a hell of a lot of questions of Betty Bruiser